here. And how do the same headlines keep getting recycled like every 6 weeks? We dive into that and much more. Let's do it. Let's go.
Squad.
Coming to you live.
Hey, there we go.
From the Toyota Lounge. Driven by your
Let's go.
That was hard, bro.
That was great. Fantastic.
Fire.
10 out of 10.
Actually, got a lot to talk about today. New NFL draft news. We'll play buy or sell. Scotty spoke to Cam about his NFL Combine snub, but we start today. We're just going back to what happened, I don't know, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, 18 months ago.
It feels like even more frequent than that.
Just reusing the same shit. That's all we're doing.
History repeats itself, bro.
Have you ever seen those accounts on Twitter that just like, they're like, remember this dunk contest? And they post it like every 3 weeks.
Yes.
Dude, that's what I feel like we're doing with headlines about Coach Prime and the Buffs. Like, they're just like, hey, how? Like, there's like someone in social who goes in there, like, just so you guys know, the clock did expire. We haven't talked about Coach Prime not going on home visits in the last 3 weeks. Do you guys want to run that back? And they're like, oh, yeah, go back to that one. Or they're like, hey, guys, numbers are pretty low.
Yeah.
We need some engagement. What do we have in the Coach Prime playbook? And they're like, oh, let's do the in-home visits one again. They're like, yeah, get that out there. Let's run up this engagement.
Bro, they know every time that narrative go out, bro, it's going to do numbers, bro. People going to engage. People going to click on that type of stuff, even if it's just a silly old graphic with the quote that we've seen hundreds of times.
Yep.
Damn, that good intro.
Bro, that's what I was just saying, dog. Just ruined arguably the greatest intro in show history.
Arguable goat.
Arguable go. Oh my God.
Yeah,
Wow.
why am I being silenced? What did I do to deserve this?
Conspiracy theory is crazy.
Is it back?
Are we good?
Free Jake
Chat,
till
hello.
it's backwards.
Toyota chat.
Man, you guys missed an all-time
Man.
Jake intro.
No, you'll get it tomorrow. You have to wait 23 hours and 55 minutes from
It's
now.
like a Jack in the Box, you know? You got to rewind
exactly.
it. Jake in the Box.
Pretty much.
Attaboy.
I don't even know where this came from. You said it started at Rivals.
No, I don't know that for sure. I don't know. I think I saw them repost the quote.
Yeah, I saw their quote graphic first.
Which was this morning, I believe.
I think this came from USA Today. Brent Schrottenbauer wrote this report. This actually stems from a quote from Coach Prime from last month. A month ago.
They're put it in the chamber. We'll save it for a rainy day.
The quote. That's how I recruit. I don't go to nobody's school or nobody's house. I'm not doing that. I'm too old to be going to somebody's school, somebody's house. All the kids that I'm recruiting, as a matter of fact, they're in the transfer portal. They're grown men with kids. They don't need me to come to their crib and try to convince them to come play for me. Nah.
I love that at the end.
It's funny because, like, I don't know if Coach Prime is just, like, experimenting with different answers. Like, maybe if I give you this one, you guys will shut up about it. Because, like, this is slightly different than what he said before. It's almost like he's just sick of it, you know? So he's just answering in a more matter-of-fact way. I think that his best answer on this was essentially just like, if I show up at these places, then I got to show. If I show up at one, I got to show up at all.
Right.
And if I show up there, it's going to be an event. If Coach Prime shows up at a a school outside of Atlanta, there's going to be people like lining up outside of the school to try and see him.
People from chat are showing up.
Yeah. So like, I get that part. Honestly, if I were Coach Prime, this is the next answer I would experiment with. I don't have to. I'm not doing it because I don't have to. Deal with it.
They gonna hate that, bro.
Yeah,
they gonna hate that. Good. They go. But I mean, you're right, bro. I feel like after Coach Prime and this program landed a 5-star quarterback in Julian Lewis, all talks about his recruiting tactics should have just stopped. And obviously they're not, because again, it drives clicks, but this man has proven that he can recruit at a high level. It should have stopped after Jordan Seaton, honestly.
Yeah.
But even after Julian Lewis, that's really should have been the fact where it's like, okay, we can probably lay off this silly old narrative that Coach Prime doesn't do recruiting how recruiting has always traditionally been done. There comes a point in time where things have to change, where you go into a new era. And Coach Prime is the kind of guy who is the type of guy who can lead you into a new era of this type of thing. And that's what we're seeing. And again, you can't really argue with the results at this point in time, but unfortunately, it's just a narrative that we have to keep talking about, because Rivals and ABC and USA Today are going to keep doing this and playing this up for the clicks.
This article is crazy, by the way. I just scrolled all the way through it. This is legit. Like,
it's a long one right there. It's like 1,500 words.
Yeah, 1,500, 1,200 words on the topic. So let's go through this whole thing. Mr. Brent decided he had to reach out to the school for comment on this.
So my question about that is, did he reach out to the school because like he thought Coach Prime was lying about not going on home visits?
I guess. And then our good old friend Adam Gorney has some great quotes in this, by the way. Anyways,
did Brent reach out to Gorney, or did he just?
No. I don't.
He just included those quotes from Gorney.
I guess Rivals might have talked about this in depth.
Okay.
Or maybe we'll get to that part. Anyways, the school's response to USA Today's inquiry on requesting records of any recruiting trips he's made in the last year.
We're doing records requests.
The school goes, head coach Deion Sanders did not make any in-home or off-campus recruiting visits.
Bro, he told y'all that.
That's
bro,
it.
You're right, bro. He really thought Coach Prime was lying. Probably.
Why would he lie about that?
Right. He's like, no, this can't be right. We gotta check on this, bro. He told you that he's not doing no. You think he would keep that a secret? Like,
for real?
Yeah, I'm actually doing in-home visits, but I'm telling everybody that I'm not. Like, what?
By the way, that's one of the more expensive parts of recruiting.
Oh yeah.
And obviously, CU's doing it with assistance, but you know. If you're doing it with Coach Prime, you probably got to put him on a private plane.
Yes.
That's going to be expensive.
Speaking of private plane, USA Today dug into his contract and saw that it includes a $200,000 annual budget for him to use private air travel for recruiting, which he didn't use.
Didn't say what he was recruiting.
This is crazy. It goes into this section. What is Deion Sanders' recruiting strategy? That's where the quote comes from Coach Prime. After that,
well, so doesn't that mean that just CU saved $200,000?
Pretty much.
Nice.
Next section says using fame and media to cast wider recruiting net. It mentions his shows, him going on the late night or the late show with Stephen Colbert, all this stuff. Mentions Well-Off and Deion Jr. What is the risk is the next section. And here's where our guy Adam Gorney gets in. This is great. He says, I definitely think he's chosen not to put in the needed effort to get all of the best kids in the class.
Oh, my God.
But the way he's doing it is definitely working for him. He's taking a different approach to basically this whole thing. Before Deion, there weren't rap concerts in locker rooms after the game. There weren't documentaries on the sidelines every play. But I do wonder how much more he could do. He did tell USA Today this, so in December. So they talked to him about this.
All right.
How unusual is Deion Sanders' recruiting approach is the next section. It brings up Brian Kelly made 257 off-campus visits from December 22 to February 24. Matt Rule made 486 contacts during the same time.
Think about how many recruits that they didn't get.
How much wasted time that was, and wasted resources and money and revenue.
Yeah.
There's a quote from Gary Barnett in here.
GB.
Talking about just is Coach Prime ahead of the curve? That's the name of this section. They mentioned COVID-19, how that changed recruiting and how no one was able to even do any in-person then. Coach Barnett goes, I sort of use that as an analogy with this whole situation. My first reaction would be is this recruiting approach sustainable? Is this really the right thing to do? But if you look at it from the other side, it's all of that travel is a waste of money and time.
Yeah.
Facts.
I mean, it's not 1-to-1 by any stretch of the mind, but excuse me, our industry has certainly lowered travel. Back in the day, if you were a baseball beat writer for the local paper, you went to all 81 road games. That doesn't happen nearly as much anymore because a lot of that work can be done from home. Now, a lot of like true blue journalists would say, no, it can't. And I think the same way that the old school coach is going to say, no, you can't make the same relationships on campus that you could make in person. But in the end, I think what's going to happen, like all other things that Coach Prime has set the precedent for, is Coach Prime is going to set the precedent for this. Someone else with a bigger profile is going to try it out. They're going to realize that they can still be successful doing it that way. And everyone's going to end up saving a lot of money.
I think, honestly, RK, you made the best point about this whole home visit thing as it relates to guys want to be in Colorado.
Yes.
Like, guys want to experience Boulder, Colorado. Like, that's a huge draw. And also, too, I feel like the other side of that is, like, Coach Prime is the type of coach where he wants to make sure you're as invested in him and the Colorado football program as he might be invested in you. When you come to Boulder, Colorado, and come sit in his office and come hang around his facility, that shows, I think, to him that you're serious about coming to possibly play for me in this program. Yeah. And I feel like it could be kind of a one-sided thing if you go to a high school recruit's, school or home and you're there and you're the 5th, 6th coach that week or the last 2 weeks that has been in his house. And I don't think, obviously, Coach Prime is going to, stand out, of course, among other coaches. But I feel like you can almost get lost in the shuffle potentially. And, again, it doesn't guarantee that, that player feels the same way about you just because you went to his home. But I feel like when they come to Boulder, Colorado, when they're sitting in his office and whatnot in front of him and they get the chance to chop it up with him, that's when you can kind of feel, and kind of get to really know a person and feel how, they are in a small setting and whatnot.
I mean, as the late, great Bill McCartney would say, you get them to Boulder, it's damn near over.
Yeah.
And I think that almost making that the only way to access Coach Prime increases the amount of on-campus visits you get.
Why don't they interview these guys who come on visits, though?
Yeah.
And, commit? Why don't they just ask them?
I mean, yeah, ask Julian Lewis, why did you commit despite Coach Prime not coming to your living room?
Yes. Any of the transfers. I mean, there's 30-some damn near every year. There's at least 15 in the recruiting class.
We gonna ask that.
There's people to ask.
There we go.
Girl, we gonna do it.
I love it.
Because that's a hell of a question.
The truth is, and I've thought about this a lot recently and maybe less recently, but until Coach Prime wins a national championship, all of this stuff will be questioned.
Yes.
And
it's always going to be questioned.
Yes. But if you won a national championship, what are you going to say? Could have won by more?
Yeah.
If he went on home
probably,
visits?
He could have had 2 by now if he actually did it home visits.
They only won the Natty as the 3 seed. Do it as the 9 seed like Ohio State did.
Fair enough.
That's how it's all going to go.
Oh, man.
All right. Let's get to Cam'Ron Silmon-Craig. Scotty spoke to him recently just about the culture, he said, at Colorado, being snubbed by the NFL Combine and lots more. But we'll do it on the other side of this break. Shout out to the homies over at Livewell. There's not much to do out in Colorado right now because there's all snow and cold, so you just stay at home, it seems like recently.
Still live well.
And you can still live well. Make sure you stop by your local Livewell. There's 20 locations out here in Colorado. They're all over the place with the best staff in the game. They got all the products that you could want as well. Flour, edibles, concentrates, and more. They also offer 25% off one regular price item when you show up in store. Use the code DNVR25. Some restrictions apply. Go to livewell.com, put in a mobile order, scan the whole menu. Super quick and easy. Again, just make sure to mention that code DNVR25 when you're in store, and you'll receive 25% off one regular price item. Some restrictions apply. Shout out Livewell.
Also, shout out to Game Time. In my eyes, it's officially Avs and Nuggets season.
It is.
Football is over. It's time to dive all the way in. And I think sometimes Game Time works best on these longer season sports where there's a lot of games.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, the stadiums 10 minutes from my house. There's not like as crazy as a football game day traffic where you kind of have to commit to being at the stadium a couple hours before. Like I can literally open Game Time an hour before the game. If there's a really good deal, I can just hop in an Uber and get there and go check out the game at a great price. And that's what makes Game Time great, because the closer you get to Game Time, the lower the prices get. So if you're looking to get great deals on NFL or NBA, NHL, NFL, concert tickets, whatever it may be, always check out Game Time and use the code BUFFS, that's BUFFS, for $20 off your first purchase. Again, download the Game Time app, use the code BUFFS when you sign up for $20 off your first purchase. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed.
Guaranteed.
What'd you learn from our guy Cam?
Hey, shout out to that boy Cam, man. Shout out to Shark, bro. Obviously, that boy grinding, getting ready for the draft. He's busy, man. So I appreciate him for taking the time to chop it up with me, because he didn't have to do that. But we'll get into quite a bit. Go check out the story that just went live this morning on DNVR.com for the diehards, talking to Cam about a bunch of things. We'll start here. I just asked him, like, bro, Cam, when you're at the Shrine Bowl, for example, and you're getting a chance to talk to these NFL scouts, like, what do you tell them? Like, how do you sell them on you? Mm-hmm. And this is one of my favorite quotes. He goes, I always tell them, talking about NFL scouts, he goes, you watch all the safeties film in the country and tell me why you're going to pick him over me without saying he's bigger than me, taller than me, or way more than me. This film speaks for itself. And I feel like that last part,
Facts.
The film, that's kind of been his mantra, like, pretty much since the season, or even during the season. And it's true, because, again, you look at a box score or you look at somebody's measurables, that's not going to tell you the whole story, especially about a young man like Cam'Ron Silmon-Craig. And obviously, Robert Livingston is a big reason for his development, especially this past year. Obviously, Coach Rob got the 2-year extension recently and made him the highest paid assistant coach in CU history. And I asked him about Coach Rob, and we were just rolling, bro. This answer from Cam literally had me dead. I just asked him about the extension and whatnot, and he goes, my fault. He goes, I called him and told him that he owes me. I told him I need my percentage. I need my cut. I had a new deal. And whatnot. That just had me dead, bro. But, Cam just talked about how, like, Coach Rob is like a best friend to him, like real life. Like, it goes real life beyond football. And obviously he's just proud, and he just knows that this is really just the beginning for Coach Rob Livingston in terms of his coaching career. He has a lot of big things in his future. Obviously, asked Cam about his snub from the NFL Combine. He said he wasn't tripping too much. He's not too bothered, but he did see it as a slap in the face that he's kind of used to, coming from HBCU, coming from Jackson State. A lot of people, he heard the noise that he wouldn't be able to replicate what he did at the HBCU level at Colorado. And turns out, top 10 nationally in tackles this year, obviously led the team as well. He goes, it's kind of a thing with me where I'm just used to it. I'm used to have to doing it the harder way. And he also mentioned that he's going to have every scout in the country at the pro day. So he's blessed to have that. So that's dope as well. And then kind of the last part here. When we think about this Coach Prime era of Colorado football in terms of players who impacted it the most, we're obviously going to think about Shedeur and Travis at the top. But I think after them, Cam'Ron Silmon-Craig is the third name, right? I think 100%. And I just kind of asked him about that, just about how he kind of looks back on his time. And really, I specifically asked him why he thinks the success that this team, this program had in 2024, why it's just going to be the beginning of something special, not just a flash in the pan. And he goes, we established a culture. We have a culture there now. We have a standard to live up to. When I first got there, we didn't have that. We were just creating one. When we left, the guys that came behind us understand the standard. And if things don't look the same way, it doesn't feel right to those guys. So, he, like I said, he's right up there in terms of Travis Shedeur, in terms of some of the best Buffs to ever put on that black and gold. And he's going to ball in the NFL, man. The team is going to fall in love with everything he does on the football field, all his intangibles. So I'm excited to see where he ends up next.
I hope it doesn't end up like Phillip Lindsay in the sense that Phil didn't get drafted. But I see a lot of similarities between those two. Undersized guys who absolutely balled out at the collegiate level and still didn't get the respect that they deserved. And I think that you could see a very similar career arc for Cam. Hopefully he does go in the draft, but regardless, I think you're going to see him be undervalued in the draft, get onto a team, immediately start turning heads in training camp, make the team, be like one of the first guys to make the team, maybe not even play in that last preseason game like Phil didn't. And didn't just go out there and make plays and plays and plays and plays, and everyone's just like, how did this happen?
Yep.
And it happens every year in every sport.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, this guy was great in college.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, yeah, but he doesn't have the measurables.
Yep.
And then they go to it's usually a good team.
Yeah, right.
And ball out.
Yep. I can already imagine it now. It's going to be day 3 of the NFL draft. It'll be like 6th or 7th round. Cam's name gets called, and it's Daniel Jeremiah or Mel Kiper, someone who grinds a lot of film, goes, oh, I love this kid.
Yeah.
And they just start talking up Cam like he's a first-round draft pick,
Yeah.
but it's day 3. I sure hope he gets drafted, though. But, yeah, he's been the heartbeat of the team basically the last 2 years. So,
And I think Coach Prime hit it right on the head. I think this was right after the Baylor game. I include this in the story. His quote from after the Baylor game, he was asked about Cam, and he goes, I just told the scout. He's asking me about unsung heroes. I said, Cam's the kind of kid, if you allow him, if you draft him, he's not going to get cut. He's not going to allow you to cut him. He's going to play special teams. He's going to do this. He's going to do that. And he's going to consistently show up on film. And that's just the consensus among this coaching staff. And Cam was hearing something about that when he was at the Shrine Bowl. He told me that, let me just find this, just a lot of the scouts, he said, all they could talk about was how well Coach Livingston and Coach Prime talked about me. They said a lot of people had me in the top percentage of their character department. So that's something that's going to, again, when you're talking about 6th, 7th round, late in the draft, like that's the thing that's going to set you apart from other guys maybe who are valued around you.
well, especially these teams that suck right now. Like, let's be honest. Like, you probably suck because you don't have a culture. You want to get
Facts.
someone who can set a culture, you need to draft someone like Cam Silmon-Craig.
Period.
Facts.
Great stuff, Scotty. Go check it out, DNVR.com. Go become a diehard.
Yes, sir.
Let's play buy or sell.
Yes.
When are we getting into our debate from before the show?
Just
yeah.
wait. Just wait. It's coming.
I wasn't saying that we weren't. I just asked a question.
It's coming. I just transitioned into the segment that is going to bring it up.
Okay.
I got you.
And that Philip Lindsay comp might be fire, though.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, I didn't know much about him like at Colorado, but like, bro was really a dog with the Broncos.
And the other thing that I forgot to mention is leader of the team.
yeah.
You know, full on heart and soul of the roster.
Yep.
When they were there at Colorado, and you know, I think you're going to see the same thing because Phil was like such an emotional leader for the Buffs, and he got to the Broncos and was like, I'm just going to be quiet and work. And that's what he did. And then once he earned his keep, he, was able to become that vocal leader again.
Yeah. No doubt.
All right. First one up. Buy or sell. The Buffs finished in the top half of the Big 12 in rushing yards. We'll go per game. Dead last in conference the last 2 years. Damn near dead last in the country the last 2 years.
65 rushing yards per game this year.
What is halfway? Who's the 8th and 9th team?
Bro, second to last was 106.
Oh,
So 8th and 9th team.
what's 8th? Yeah.
What's 8th and 19th? 166 and 161.
It's about national average for rushing yards per game right there too.
No.
No, still?
So. They'll be right there. They'll be right there, but
Top half.
9th or 10th.
Texas Tech finished 8th with Taj Brooks. BYU finished 9th. Top half is crazy. I'm gonna say yeah, bro. I'm just gonna buy Caden Salter's legs here and his ability to create explosive long gains in the run game.
Everything comes back to this debate.
Honestly, and obviously, I think the running game itself by the running backs is going to be better. I think the offensive line is going to be better, set up to run block. And again, I think Caden Salter is going to be the biggest reason why this team at least ends up in the top. Can average 150, 160 on the ground a game.
I'm buying this. I don't care who's at quarterback.
Like it.
It doesn't matter. You have to run the ball better.
Yeah.
You have to, if it's Julian, you have to give your young quarterback some help. If it's Caden, you have to buy in on his strengths. Either way, you've got to run the ball better. You have to.
Colorado was a true outlier, too. Like, you look at the worst teams in rushing, they were all the worst teams in the conference. Arizona was second to last. Oklahoma State was just ahead of them. TCU, Utah, Houston. Those are the bottom 5 ahead of Colorado. Those are pretty much probably the 5 worst teams in the conference.
Yeah, no, that's literally Shedeur and Travis saving the team. You don't have that anymore. You have to run better.
But once you get to that middle pack, then you have good teams in there.
Yeah. I mean, BYU.
BYU, right.
And that's where I just think Colorado. I think if Salter is the starter, then yes, I think they will be top 5, or top half. But I still think it's going to be Juju.
We'll get into that debate soon. Next one.
You're going to have no choice but to have that debate about 20 times at least.
For sure. No, we will.
No doubt.
Buy or sell, Ohio State repeats as national champions.
Hard sell.
Easy sell.
Big sell.
Not a chance. They'll be
And
good,
also,
though.
Oregon ain't winning either. Just
No.
getting that out of the way now, because I
Bro.
saw someone did their like too early prediction and it had Oregon winning.
Who's their quarterback next year? Do y'all know?
Oregon?
Yeah.
Is it Dante Moore?
They got Dante Moore.
He's gonna be the guy.
I'm pretty sure. He transferred to sit behind Gabriel last year.
Right. Where was he at before?
UCLA.
UCLA, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't move me.
Yeah, me either. That's
Did Dylan Gabriel move you?
Yeah.
kinda. Yeah, kinda. Honestly,
Like before the season, I'm like, okay, they're going to be good.
before the season, right?
Yeah.
He played a lot of football. He was
But
good at
you
Oklahoma.
saw in the playoff, though.
Oh, I didn't
What
think he was going to win the national championship.
Right.
But when I saw they got Gabriel, I'm like, okay, they're going to keep it rolling.
Wow, lots of buys in the chat.
Were we? That was just me and you last week when we talked about
Texas?
national champion.
Yeah.
Who would you pick right now if you had to pick a team, national champion next year?
Georgia.
With, what was the guy's
Brock?
name? Is it Vandergriff? That's who it is?
I don't care. They're just going to have the best trenches.
For sure.
That's true. Next one. Buy or sell. Colorado finishes with the most sacks in the Big 12 for the second year in a row.
Big buy.
Really?
Big buy. I think they do it again. This past again, we talk about it, bro. I think this defensive line is the deepest, most talented position on the team. With Amari McNeil, Sammy Sachs, Keaton Wade, the guys that they added in the portal, in the interior of the defensive line, Jaheim Otis, Tavian Coleman,
The freshman?
the freshman, the IMG duo. You know what I'm saying? So I think this defensive line, this pass rush is going to be the best in the Big 12 again. And obviously, Sapp in year 2 coaching, we'll see who they add to go alongside him to coach a defensive line, but that's an easy buy for me.
It's a buy for me as well. And since you said all of the great things already about this team, I'll just add, I think pass rush might be the weakest position in the Big 12.
Yeah.
I think it's an easy one to win because none of these teams have dominant pass rushes.
I think I'm going to sell this, but not because I think Colorado's going to be bad in terms of getting after the quarterback. I just think it's one thing to do it when no one expects you to do it, like last year. When they see someone like Coach Sapp coming in, they're like, oh, this is all flash or whatever. Like, these players are all transfers. This isn't going to work. All of a sudden, BJ Green's like 7.5 sacks or whatever. Like, I think that teams are going to know coming into playing Colorado this year that you have to handle these pass rushers. And I think that teams will handle Colorado differently than they did last year.
That's probably a good thing for the defense as a whole if they're having to dedicate extra resources to that.
Well, I was going to say, just running the ball better. I mean, you shorten the game that way, too.
It's true. I just think about the fact that they had a slow start to the season in terms of sack production.
Yeah.
And that's why I feel like if they just have a faster start.
But they had like multiple 7-sack games, didn't they?
Yeah, I think that's
6,
about right.
7-sack games?
Yeah, that's about right. But I think that's repeatable, though, on a couple teams in this conference.
It is. That's a lot per game, though.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget, just reminded me of this, one of the few games where Von Miller and Bradley Chubb were both healthy together. I remember we were talking about the game leading up to it. They're playing the Chargers, and I was like, well, one of them is going to get pressure because you can't double chip every play.
Yeah.
They damn near tried to double chip every play and just had 2 people out in the route
Yeah.
the whole game, and it didn't work at all. They scored like 7 points.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Broncos won.
And they only averaged three sacks a game last year. 39
It's
for
those
the year.
First
You know what I'm
3 or
saying?
4 games
Right.
where they had 0.
So I think that's repeatable.
Let's take a break. We'll do that one on the other side. You want to tell the people about your Toyota?
Love my
How's
Toyota.
the Toyota handling the snow, bro?
Love your Toyota. Love everyone's Toyota. Toyota handles the snow with such ease that you wouldn't know the difference between that and the track of Daytona 500.
Sheesh.
Wow.
Just absolute control at all times. You'd always feel safe. And in the event that you are a subpar snow driver and you do end up, skidding or sliding, it's very, very receptive and in control even in those moments, which I can't personally relate to, but I know some people here can. So
What?
I didn't say you, but it seems like you think it was about you.
Why would you say that about Scotty? What has he driven you?
I'm just saying. Anyways,
That's crazy.
shout out to Toyota, the absolute best in the business. And if you want to get a Toyota and be safe on these icy roads, hit up our friends. Front Range Toyota store near you. AutoNation Toyota, Arapahoe and Centennial, Corin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of CU Athletics and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. I only said that because there have been times where you said like the roads are too bad for me to drive on.
That was before.
I've never thought that in my life.
That was when I literally had
Not
1
in
out of 10
Colorado.
tires on my car.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what Discount Tire said. They were 1 out of 10.
They told you that?
Yes.
That's crazy.
I still regret that I didn't get a chance to drive that in the snow. Like,
You
I
were
just wanted
riding
to
around with
take it for a
bald
little
tires.
spin.
It was not good, bro. Not good at all.
So you were sliding around, literally.
When you guys first got cars, did you like when it snowed, like take them out to like an empty lot and drift them?
Well, it hardly ever snows in Albuquerque,
No.
so I did that in the rain.
You could do that in the rain.
I mean, I had a
Like
truck.
with like an
but-
emergency
yeah.
brake.
I've never done that.
No, just driving it.
Okay. You never did that?
No, y'all sound like rebels. Real dangerous.
The only thing you have to worry about is the like light poles. I came
Yeah,
real
bro.
close to hitting one of those once.
I remember back in high school, we used to practice my freshman year. We practiced on the baseball fields and the outfields. And we're out there practicing one day and we just heard skid, boom, loud ass
Oh.
crash. Some guy was doing donuts in the school parking lot
Gotcha.
and crashed into a light pole.
Dang.
Gotcha.
I remember doing that with my friends. You know, we're like 16. We just got our license. We're out in the high school parking lot at night, just like drifting the car on the snow. And then I just remember thinking to myself, like, this is why insurance costs more for men than women.
Actually, shout out Mama again, by the way. I remember one time when it snowed in Albuquerque, I was like 9 years old. My mom took us drifting in my dad's like Jeep
Sick.
thing
She's a real
in the elementary school parking lot.
Oh, wow.
Yep, it's always the school parking lot. Nice and open.
All right, next by yourself.
Two more? Two
We
total
should
more?
have more. Oh, my bad. Shout out Coors Light. I mean, just the most crisp, refreshing, best beer in the game. Come hang out with us at the DNVR bar. It's about to get rowdy out here. We got, as RK said, it's Avs and Nuggets season. So, you know, we're going to be popping multiple nights a week for the Avs and the Nuggets as they make their quest towards another championship. You can find Coors Light pretty much anywhere where they sell beer. You can come to the DNVR bar as well. Or just go to CoorsLight.com/DNVR and get it delivered straight to your door with Instacart. Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado. Thank you, Alyssa.
Love it. I'm going to be here, I think, watching Nuggets Lakers Saturday, drinking some Coors Light.
That Saturday?
Yep.
Pull up. I might have to, for real. That's going to be a fire game.
Let's do it.
That's in LA, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, it's going to be fire.
Buy or sell. One of Iowa State or ASU goes back to the Big 12 title game.
Easy sell.
Selly.
Not believers in either?
No, definitely not in Iowa State. And I am somewhat of a believer in ASU. I just don't think they're going to be able to recreate the magic again without Scadaboo.
They're going to get everybody's best shot, too. Like, everybody's going to get up to play Arizona
Yeah,
State.
that's different when you have a target on your back.
Which certainly wasn't the case for them this past year. So I'm going to sell that. I like Recco Beck to Iowa State, but
People don't realize, like, no one was even talking about ASU like 4 weeks left in the season.
facts,
Yeah.
bro.
No, because they had like literally like a 1% chance at that point to make the title game.
Yes.
Facts.
So they did like really sneak up on everyone. They
Everybody.
weren't respected until they won the championship.
Pretty much. And then they all
Yeah.
damn near beat Texas.
Yeah.
I'll sell it too.
But Scadaboo, I mean, that's everything to them.
Yes.
They got the best quarterback in the country, some say, though. Some say.
I wouldn't say that.
Well, some say. Next one. Buy or sell. Oklahoma State will have another bottom three finish in the Big 12 this year. Now, we've talked a lot about Mr. Mike Gundy.
I'm buying that.
Remember, though, hold on. Remember, though, this was the worst year this team has had in a long time. Literally the worst year under Mike Gundy, or Mike Gundy's, I think, had as a head coach. Last time Oklahoma State had a losing season was his first year in 2005. They went 4-7.
05, wow. That's 20 years.
Damn near 20 years. Does it happen again?
Yes.
What is it? Bottom 3 of
Bottom
the conference?
3. Yeah.
Who's their quarterback? Oh, that guy who
Exactly,
played most
bro.
of the game against CU, I think.
The young guy. He was a freshman.
Yeah.
I forget his name. Last name Smith, I think.
No more Ollie Gordon.
Nope. They lost 2 really good receivers who have been there for forever, too.
Yeah, that's happening again. I'm actually going to be I'm out on Oklahoma State. I'm out on Utah. They had a nice little run.
You're out on Scott Frost, too,
It's
I'm
over.
assuming?
I'm very out on Scott
Out
Frost
on
at
Rich Rod?
UCF. I'm very out on Rich Rod at West Virginia.
Out on half the conference. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to actually sell this because I don't think that Oklahoma State is going to be that bad again. Like, you have to win 4 games to not finish bottom 3.
They had a good roster last year
Yeah.
and were complete ass.
They were pretty much the consensus to win the conference. If they didn't pick Utah, it was Oklahoma State.
Yep.
They allowed a lot of points. Remember that BYU game?
Yeah.
Remember CU? CU put 50-some on
They
them.
allowed
Yeah.
the most points in the conference this year, 427.
What was it, 50-3?
They shut them out. Colorado shut them out.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
I think Oklahoma State, UCF, and Houston will be bottom 3 in the Big 12 this year.
Wow.
Man.
The Houston disrespect. We got to dig into this. What's
Bro,
wrong with Houston?
You're a Cougar, bro. You're a Houston guy.
I'm just going off of last year when they were competitive in multiple games,
Yeah.
damn near pulled off multiple upsets. How do they get worse?
I'm higher on.
Do you hear what
on
you're
Houston.
saying? Damn near pulled off multiple upsets. So they almost.
What's the process to winning? You lose a lot,
Lose
lose a
big,
little,
lose close.
win small, win
Yeah.
big.
There you
Okay,
go.
I hear you. So what do you think? You think they'll be middle of the pack?
I think Willie Fritz is a good coach. Yeah.
I think
So
so too. It's about
there's-
the talent on the roster though.
16 teams.
Yeah.
16 teams.
They're going to finish 11th or better.
They'll be bowl
I would take.
eligible.
Excuse me. I would take that.
Okay.
They'll
They'll
be
finish
bowl
worse than
eligible.
11th.
All right. We can have a handshake bet on that. I would love for UCF to keep sucking
Be so good.
I think they will.
because we can always point to the moment their program fell apart,
That day.
just like 62-36.
Last one. Here you go, RK. Buy or sell. Shedeur Sanders should throw at the NFL Combine.
Buy. And it's not because I think he needs to. I just think people say, what does he have to gain from it? One, I think it just shows a bit of competitive nature of just I want to go out there and show what I got. Two, he's going to look the best.
Yeah. Right.
So if there's a debate between him or Cam, I think it'll actually help him in that debate because he's going to look amazing throwing out there with no pass rush because he's so accurate and he's able to put the ball on a platter wherever he wants. So I think it'll be one of those things where if he throws, people will be talking about it for a while. And they'll be like, my God, the performance that Shedeur put on at the Combine, he just was throwing darts all over the field.
Darts only.
And so I think that it's a good look, but I certainly don't think he needs to. I understand the argument of why would he do it? He doesn't have to. He certainly doesn't. I don't think it's some sort of negative if he doesn't, but I do think there is something to gain. And also it's just kind of sends a message. I'm ready to go at any point.
I agree with you, bro. I would. Again, I don't think that he needs to, but I think he should. Did y'all see Louis Riddick's tweet yesterday
Yep.
about this? I'll read it here. And obviously, Louis Riddick is one of the biggest Shedeur guys in the national media. He goes, want to see quarterback Shedeur Sanders, Tyler Show, and Cam Ward all actually throw at the scouting combine. They will all be in the same group, all throwing the receivers that they aren't familiar with, which allows the cream to rise to the top. Great QBs get on the same page fastest with unfamiliar receivers. And I think that last part is the reason why I think he really should, because you can prove to NFL scouts that it wasn't just because you were throwing a Travis Hunter and an elite crew of receivers. You can link up with a group of receivers that you just met this week, days prior, and still look like how you've looked the last 4 years of college football. So, and again, too, he's just going to thrive in that setting.
Yes.
This is a 7-on-7, 1-on-1 setting. Shedeur is elite in that setting because he's so accurate. He can place the football wherever. And again, it's getting to a point where it seems like Cam is the consensus kind of number one quarterback, at least by a lot of draft analysts. So I think this is another opportunity for Shedeur in a different setting to show that, yes, he is the best quarterback in this draft. When you're talking about Cam Ward and some of these other guys, even like Tyler Show is apparently, is that how you say it?
Yeah.
Shuck?
Yeah.
Wow. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Shuck? That's a crazy spelling.
Bro's been around for like 10 years. In
No,
college
he's
football.
like a member of like the 2017 or 2018 recruiting
That's
class.
nuts. That's nuts.
No, this is a sell. This is an obvious sell. What's the point? Why does he have to do this?
We just went over the point.
Right. And we said he doesn't have to
He
do
doesn't
anything.
have to do anything. It's like someone in the comments said, like, Marvin Harrison didn't do anything. He went top 10. Yes, he doesn't have to do anything. That much is very clear.
So then why do it?
Because I think it'll reflect positively on him.
I don't think it matters. He already missed the Shrine Bowl.
It's not
He's
the
gonna
combine,
he's
though.
gonna miss the combine. He's just gonna do a big pro day where he knows everyone is gonna show up. Not that they won't at the NFL Combine because they have to be there, but come see me. You really want me? You want to pick me? Come to my place.
They will. I mean,
Everybody gonna
probably
be there.
all 32 teams will be
Facts.
there. Like I said, he doesn't need to do anything. I think there's something. I think he's gonna ball if he does, and it'll just be.
Sure,
it'll look
of
great for
course.
And
him.
every year there's like this quarterback won the comp. Did you see that throw? Like
Yeah.
the Zach Wilson throw, like the Anthony, and obviously these are bad kind of comps because they haven't really panned out in the NFL. But like, there's always like one winner of the combine at the quarterback position, and
Sam
that could
Darnold pro day.
easily be. I think of Caleb Williams last year even. Like that could easily be Shedeur Sanders, where he just makes throws where it opens people's eyes. And again, if he was the consensus number one, like he should be, I think, yeah, bro, you sit it out. But I feel like because there is some doubt in some NFL circles about where he should go at the top of the draft, I think it could really only help him.
Tyler Shuck was the 140th overall player in the 2018 recruiting class. 2018.
Crazy.
That was 7 years ago, bro.
Yeah. No wonder he quote tweets Louis Riddick calling all the top three quarterbacks out and goes, "Hey, throw me in that convo, bro." That's what he's saying. He goes, "You throwing me in with Cam Ward and Shedeur?" Absolutely.
That is a crazy juxtaposition.
And really quick, I just want to add, I don't think Shedeur needs to throw a pro day either.
Yeah,
He doesn't have to do anything,
no.
No, he doesn't.
but it'd be fun.
It would be fun as hell.
And it's so set up for him. It's going to highlight his best abilities so well.
Shrine Bowl was so set up for him. He had three guys that he didn't even have to build chemistry with that were out there. They could have ran the whole
Totally.
thing.
But there's other variables of like, what if the offensive line sucks?
You don't have to play
Whatever.
the game.
Well, for sure. I'm just saying this one is just like, go show how good you are at throwing the football, and he's elite at that.
Got 4 years of tape. That was fun. That's buy or sell.
That conversation annoyed me because we were on different sides but didn't have any actual disagreements with each other. Like, I don't disagree with a word you're saying.
Yeah,
Same
me
with you
either.
guys. All right, news and notes. We'll start with this. Shout out to Colin, Life in Football. He tweeted this out yesterday. Stephen Houston, strength coach at Colorado, leaving. He's going to FIU to be a strength conditioning coach there. So
Good for
shout
him.
out to Coach Houston. Best of luck in the future. Shedeur Sanders says the only team he plays Madden with is the Cleveland Browns. He likes the way they move.
I think Outkast had a song about that.
I think he's just talking about Jerry Jeudy in the open field, to be honest.
That would be nasty. Those
Talking
two.
about the whole get up, bro.
Yeah.
David Njoku.
Shedeur loves to throw a little crumb out there. He gives every fan base a little crumb that they can hang on to.
Yeah.
It's hilarious. And again, that was on Well Off Media, and again, that obviously Bucky has final say on everything that goes up.
Yeah.
And that was probably covered. Should we leave this in?
Of course.
Yeah, sure.
Just the people going.
And we were talking about before the show, like it seems like he was teasing the Raiders to
Yep.
start. Then it was the Giants, obviously the Dabo quote on our show, it's Super Bowl week. And then now it seems like he's on to the Browns. But
Next up will be Titans.
again, I think Shedeur knows though too. Not to belabor this point. I don't know if there's a bad fit for Shedeur Sanders in terms of the teams that could feasibly get him, and I would include Cleveland in that build for sure. They got a good coach. They got a solid infrastructure in terms of personnel on the roster. I think their GM has done a really good job aside from the whole Deshaun Watson debacle. Cleveland would be a solid spot for Shedeur.
Are you sure it was an outcast?
Better than the Jets, yeah. You're right.
He loves to do this though, and that's why I thought he would play along with my game at the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all being sick.
It was probably too much all at once, bro. He just had the Dable handshake a couple weeks ago, or the week before. Like,
oh my God. Bro, Cleveland was literally good like a couple with Baker Mayfield a few years ago. And everybody thought Cleveland was ass and finished before they drafted Baker Mayfield.
yeah, and then they sold their soul because
Yes.
the ownership and the decision makers there just do these things because they're the Cleveland Browns.
We'll see.
Daniel Jeremiah came out with his 2025 mock draft 2.0. He's still got Abdul Carter first overall.
Really?
Yep.
If the Tennessee Titans think that Abdul Carter's generational, they deserve what's coming to them.
He's got the Cleveland Browns taking Cam Ward second overall. Third overall, he's got Travis Hunter to the New York Giants.
Two players should not be drafted before Travis Hunter.
Also
Number
facts.
4, he's got Will Campbell going to the Patriots. Number 5, Mason Graham to the Jags. Number 6, of course, Shedeur Sanders to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Speaking of tired narratives,
I think that's the worst fit of the potential fits. Like, I don't think it's
I
bad.
actually think that,
I think it's the worst of the 5 potential
I mean, I
ones.
hate the Raiders. I'd never want this to happen, but I think that Shedeur and a Chip Kelly offense would be fire.
I mean, Shedeur and Bowers too. You know, I forget who said it recently, but just about how important the tight end is.
Thomas
Our guy
Dimitroff.
Dimitroff.
Yeah. That's the only part where I'm like, I guess that could work. Other than that, they literally have nothing on offense. Nothing.
Nothing that gets you excited.
No. So that part would worry me. Also, you'd have to go up against the mighty Denver Broncos 2 times a year.
Damn right.
Bro, I ranked his landing spots, bro. You want to hear this?
Yeah.
Giants number 1.
Okay.
I think that's the best. I think that's
I
kind of
agree.
consensus. I think I got the Browns second.
Okay, keep going.
I got the Titans third, the
Okay.
Jets fourth, and the Raiders fifth.
I think I'm with you on that list. I might flip Tennessee over Cleveland just because I love the Joe Burrow, Brian Callahan, Shedeur Sanders
So do I.
thing.
But my thing too is kind of what you said about the Raiders. When I look at the Titans guys to throw to, it's probably
it's
the
bad.
least exciting
It's
group.
bad.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think they got a good tight end in Chig. They have a good 1-2 punch at running back, and the offensive line is good. But in terms of guys to throw the football to, it's probably the worst spot. of the
Titans?
5.
Westbrook Akine
Yeah.
is a pretty legit deep threat. But
He had-
that's about it.
He had a crazy season. He only had like, what, 38 receptions and
9
10
touchdowns.
touchdowns?
I think
Yeah.
it was even more intense than that. Like,
And like they got
19
Ridley.
19 catches, 9 touchdowns.
Like they still got Ridley, who's still a good player, but it's like
The Titans have cap space too. They're 11th,
That's true.
11th in the league
T.
in cap
Higgins?
space. Bengals said the talk is Bengals are going to franchise tag him.
yeah, I think they will too.
But they have damn near $50 million. That's 11th in the NFL in cap space coming into free agency in about a month.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just realized this. This is going to be fun for us. We can actually apply NFL free agency to this show because we can kind of piece together, you know, who's gearing up for a quarterback, you know, who's not.
True.
Facts.
So that'll be big to see.
Someone's going to sign Sam Darnold and take themselves out of this
Exactly.
thing.
Yep.
Exactly.
100%.
Calvin Ridley has the Titans' biggest cap hit. Could you have guessed that? Dude's getting paid $28 million this year.
It's crazy that Calvin Ridley's whole career got derailed because he made a couple parlays
Yeah.
when he wasn't even playing.
Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't he already
He was injured.
injured? Yeah. Last thing. The CFP is I was gonna say something. Never mind. The SEC and Big Ten are basically taking over the CFP.
How? Why? What do you mean?
Ross Dellinger of Yahoo Sports reported this on Sunday. Within the SEC and Big Ten, momentum is building to further expand the playoff to 14 or 16 teams, assign multiple automatic qualifiers per league, as many as 4 each for themselves, and finalize a scheduling arrangement together that may fetch millions in additional TV revenue from TV partners.
Oh, so this is just what I've been saying is going to happen for years.
Pretty much, yes. They're trying to just hijack the playoff and go, this is our thing.
Well, it's just going to end up, then they're going to re-expand conferences. There's going to be a big grab, and that's going to be the end of college football as we know it. We're going to end up with the State Farm Conference and the All-State Conference, and they're each going to have 8 auto qualifiers or whatever, and that's going to be the playoffs, just the same way as like the NFL.
Tomorrow, SEC and Big Ten athletic directors are meeting in New Orleans for the second time in the last 5 months.
Where do you think they're meeting?
Huh?
Where in New Orleans? Going to Drago's?
Wherever we went for that
Swamp.
The swamp.
Swamp.
Meeting of the minds at the swamp.
No, wherever our guy Gio took us, that's where they're meeting.
Oh, yeah.
At that antique house.
Fire spot.
Yeah.
Shout out Gio.
The CFP Management Committee is scheduled to meet on February 25th in Dallas, where the SEC and Big Ten could present ideas for a future format. They're going to bring that up this week in New Orleans, many people think. The CFP is set in stone for this year, but in 2026, the CFP starts a new 6-year television agreement with ESPN through 2031. Changes are going to be coming around then. We've already talked about the ACC, how they potentially want to get rid of their conference title game or whatnot to kind of do like a play-in tourney type thing. But I actually watched
play-in tourney sounds exciting.
Well, because I watched Josh Pate talk about this, and he compared it to college basketball, and it's like, yeah, you're absolutely right. This is exactly what it is. You have a regular conference or regular season winner. Mm-hmm. They just get a bid for winning.
No, they don't.
They don't.
Mm-mm.
Well,
they always get in if they're from a major conference.
Exactly. So in this case, for the CFP, that team would get a bid, and then you have the remaining top, 4 teams compete. The winner of that kind of mini tourney makes it to the CFP.
Sounds incredible. The only thing is we've already pushed into late January for the championship. You're gonna have another little tournament. I mean,
I'm not mad about extending the college football season
either,
at all.
But the educators are going to be.
When you come to play school,
Trust me, I couldn't.
Bro, I just wish Nick Saban would just be put into a role where he can just oversee the whole college football playoff.
Yeah, but
get this thing right.
He's also biased towards Alabama.
Bro, whoever is going to be put in this type of situation is going to have some type of bias towards one school in particular. But I feel like people would just take his word for it and be like, whatever Coach Saban says is good for us. And I feel like college football just needs like one face, like one ambassador, one voice to like really get everybody on board and just get some uniformity to this thing, because I feel like it's just going down a bad path.
I agree.
This is kind of what the SEC and Big Ten are trying to do, though, is take control, like someone taking the reins and actually bringing some direction.
And that's why I said kind of like not an objective party, because again, Nick Saban is always going to have an affinity probably for Alabama, but I would just like an objective party, and I feel like having somebody actually working currently for the SEC and the Big Ten is just a huge conflict of interest. There's no true
objective party in this, though. There's
way you're probably right. You're probably
no
right.
such thing as objective parties in anything.
Well, especially when it comes to leadership.
It's true. But I agree with what you're saying. A commissioner. We need a commissioner.
Right. Yeah.
No, straight up. So it sounds like we have a 12-team playoff right now. They brought up 14-team formats. They brought up 16-team formats with no buys. They've also brought up seeding. They've brought up a lot of things. So this is in the works right now. And this is where we're headed. So shout out to Ross Dellinger, though. He's been all over this stuff. He's all over the House versus NCAA.
How many teams is too much for the playoff for y'all?
Anything more than 16 would be absurd.
Yeah, 16's pushing it. 16's pushing it.
Until Colorado's that 17th team one year, then we'll be like, it's honestly ridiculous that we haven't expanded to 24 teams yet. What are we doing?
Do we think the Big 12 gets snubbed in this?
Yes.
Oh, actually, I
mean, not snubbed out of it, but still disrespected.
But yeah, like one bid.
Yes.
Like you're just your conference winner.
Yep. RK, I wanted to get your thoughts on something I asked Jake yesterday. Kind of similar to this conversation that we're having right now. It's from our guy.
Look at the BYU SMU situation last year.
Right.
Literally beat them head to head.
That's why the ACC brought this up, though. Because they would have... Who won the conference? Was it
Clemson.
Clemson. So Clemson would have just gotten into the playoff, and then SMU and Miami and...
I could get behind Pat McAfee as commissioner.
Not a bad idea. Pat McAfee potentially as the CFP commissioner. I know a lot of people would get behind that. So Bud Elliott, our guy Bud Elliott yesterday.
Oh,
right?
great.
He tweeted, in terms of having a legit title contender, the Big 12 is closer to the group of 5 than the other 3 Power 4 leagues.
This guy's so dumb, bro.
He is.
We just watched ASU take it to Texas, damn near win in the CFP.
Yes.
And I would
1 4th down and 20 away from winning.
I would maybe hear that if he just said the Big 10 and the SEC, but him including the ACC in that is ridiculous, bro.
Absolutely.
How is the ACC?
They put Clemson and SMU in this year.
And SMU got dog walked, and
Yeah.
Clemson, I think, won a game.
No.
Maybe they probably deserve to be there. I think they beat Tennessee, didn't they?
No, Tennessee played Ohio State.
Clemson lost first round.
No, Clemson was getting blown out, and then they came back and made it interesting at the end.
Okay,
I think.
Well, so then they both lost.
Yep.
I mean, for
Penn
him
State,
to
maybe?
act like the ACC is head and shoulders above the Big 12 or on the same plane as the Big 10, the ACC is crazy.
I don't know. Tennessee played.
It
Tennessee
was
played Ohio State.
Klubnik versus
Texas beat Clemson.
Georgia.
Oh, that's what it was.
Texas beat Clemson. That was
Okay,
the
okay.
first game of the year. What you're talking about.
Yep.
Texas beat Clemson, then Texas narrowly beat ASU. So this guy has literally no idea what he's talking about.
No clue.
He's the worst. Shout out, Buddy Boy.
That was just wild to me.
All right, let's hit the couple questions here before we get out.
All right, let's get to questions. What's up, Ivan? Will Travis Hunter be allowed to run some receiver drills at the combine? How much does Travis even need the combine? He does not need the combine.
He doesn't need that,
I don't
but
know.
he's got to pull up to the receiver drills.
Bro, this is what when this came out last week, when he was like listed as DB for the combine, like what a flex to have DB on your chest, then go, actually, I'm gonna go to receiver day
Yes.
too.
Yes.
Hell yeah. He's going to do something crazy at that combine, bro.
Eric asks, who do you see having a better season returning to their school? Rich Rod at West Virginia or Scott Frost at UCF?
Rich Rod, just by a little bit. Both of them are going to look really bad.
It's Rich Rod for me. I don't know if they'll be very bad, but I have no faith in UCF and Scott Frost, though.
Yeah, like I said earlier, I think UCF is going to be bottom 3 in the Big 12 this year. So, yeah.
King Mars asked, where do you see BYU finishing with their seniors leaving? I mean, it's a great question. You never know.
They're so well coached. It's the same way I feel about ASU. Like, they're so well coached that they're just going to be around. And they're going to be competitive, and they're going to win close games late. And they're just going to, like, it's like a 7. I kind of feel like it's like a 7-win floor.
I agree.
Because they're going to bring in guys that fit their system and just do it right and do it consistently, and it's just going to make them really hard to beat.
And it's going to be hard to beat them at their place, too.
Sure.
Like, their home field advantage is legit. So I think they'll be top 6 at least in the Big 12 again this year.
Wayne, I agree. That's something that I think Josh Pate talked about, that potentially coming along with the SEC kind of taking control of the CFP. So we'll see if they make it to 9 conference games or not. But it is ridiculous that they only play 8, then they play a powder puff in the beginning of November. That's just
terrible.
That's got to stop.
Facts.
Anything else today, boys?
That's all we got.
You listen to that new Drake, bro?
No, bro. I thought he's still alive.
Very much so. Alive and well.
I thought K-Dot
Still putting
buried
out
him, bro.
heat. Still putting out heat.
Dang.
Yeah.
I was been saying RIP for weeks.
That's crazy.
We're going to have a guest tomorrow?
We will have a guest tomorrow. Make
Look
sure
at
y'all
Scotty
tune in.
booking guests.
Let's go. The man does it all.
Great job,
Period.
Scotty. We'll be back tomorrow. See y'all then. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.